All right, welcome back. Episode 35 of the Young Old Heads podcast. Shout out Kevin Durant. Shout out Brandon Crawford. I'm one of your hosts, Tommy, aka TV Sports Cards, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host Max, aka Cards Max, aka Cards Max 2023 edition. Max, how are you doing?
Well, I was about to ask what edition am I today, if I was Sapphire or Chrome Galactic Update, Cosmic Chrome Edition, but we're just sticking with 2023 edition today. I'm doing well. I'm active. I'm moving. I'm cardsing.
You're cardsing. You're always cardsing. This was a pretty hot week of cards in terms of DMs that we were sending each other, funny things and cool shit that we were saying. So, do you want to start off with maybe what you kind of went ham a little bit on the Goldin auction this week? And I feel like people might want to be the people are definitely interested in your strategy behind your Goldin bids and maybe what you're going to do with what you bought, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know the people are always interested. My response, and not in trying to be overly humbling, but is I kind of just go with the flow and I just do stupid things or things without thinking. But in regard to that, I did have some fun pickups. Most notably, I am a Mac Jones 1/1 rookie select owner, NFL Shield, and it's not a draft picks or college card either.
It's a NFL uniform Mac Jones 1/1, and it would have been a lot more fun to own that before the season started, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, if a Prism 1/1 without an NFL Shield goes for $100,000 and then gets flipped for $175,000, I got this for a heinous price. I got this for a really cheap price.
We're not going to talk about the price, I feel like, because you might be wanting to move it. But some interesting features of that 1/1 shield is that it is a PSA 5. PSA 5, drum roll, please. And I'm guessing on the back of that shield, it says this patch is not from any specific game event or dump that Mac Jones took on the toilet.
It says the enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any specific game or event.
I saw a tweet this week that was the worst thing that's ever happened to cards is Mitchell and Ness creating like actual authentic uniforms, because that allowed Panini and Topps to start making these nonsense patches. I also had this thought when I was looking at that new product that came out, like XR or whatever. I was like,
yeah,
people are freaking out about XR. Like, this product is pretty underwhelming in my opinion. And all I saw in the promo was like 4 different Shield products that they're putting in it. And I'm like,
well, the thing is, XR and I think Certified are 2 of Panini's ugliest products, but they have the college players in their NFL uniforms. Those are like one of the first products.
Oh, that's
I don't know if that's like by design to have the shittiest possible products be right when they get their uniforms, but that is one of the features.
I mean, also shout out.
Sorry, give your shout out.
I was going to just give a quick shout out to Panini for putting out the first products of guys in their NFL uniforms in week 18. Just a quick shout out.
Them. No, it reminds me. Elements is, I think, one of the coolest products out there, especially, I mean, I have my chemistry background, so I do find it a little bit cool. But that's also, it's like, oh, yeah, they're in their NFL uniforms, but it's like, this is a shit product that no one collects.
Wait, Max, real quick. Have you seen the product that used to come out as a chemistry major? Have you seen Titanium?
I don't know it.
It's an old Panini product from like 2013. And at the National, I bought a clay case hit. And it's like on the top right is the card is like the elemental symbol for Titanium TI, like it's numbered out of whatever number on the periodic table that is. You got to look into that set because it's all periodic table based. I feel like that's right up your alley.
It's cool.
Sidetrack.
So I looked at the Mac Jones. Like, obviously it's a PSA 5 in case that we didn't mention that, even though we did. It's like not that bad. Like, I'm looking at it, I don't see any creasing. See a back indent and a few like chips on the back. 5 is a bit crazy. I've learned the hard way that if this is probably not going to be sold raw in between. Like, this is just going to be like re-encapsulated, if that, or it just gets kept to 5. I don't know, but definitely like an oddball purchase, even though it's NFL Select, that I can command the market on. I'm the king of the world. You want it? You have to get to my price for my Mac Jones 1/1. And I like those situations where I have the leverage.
I don't know what's going on in that game right now, but there's a chance they make the playoffs. So there's a chance that could be turned into biggest flip of 2023 pretty quickly for you here.
I hope so.
But
That'd be pretty cool.
all right, what else did you buy though from Goldin? I want to hear
Well,
about some of the other cards.
well, speaking of really bad quarterbacks, I bought a Mac Jones black gold mosaic choice.
Wrong player.
Maybe.
You said Mac Jones.
Why did I say Mac Jones? I'm holding up the Zach Wilson. Why did I say Mac Jones?
Because they're not really they're not that
Yeah,
different.
honestly, they're both so bad it's interchangeable. Like let's be real here. Let's be real. They both suck. And I'm from Long Island. I can say the New Jersey Jets suck. Mike
The
White's
New Jersey Jets.
not a sports and yeah, they're not even a New York sports team. I don't consider them a New York sports team.
I respect that. I respect that.
But not a sports analysis podcast. Mike White's better. But Pop 2 and a PSA 10, numbered out of 8. This is not the debut. This is the legit one. And all I can say is that this card sold on eBay about a month or to a month and a half ago for $1,500. And I didn't pay that. I can tell you that.
Yeah. The last comp on eBay is far from what Max paid for it. So it's going to be all right, I think.
Yeah, it's like, maybe about a third.
And I think you bought one other questionable quarterback.
I bought one other questionable quarterback, and that is Mr. Tua, XRC, PSA 10 out of 25. I think during like peak Tua moment, I think a copy of this card sold for $6,000, but that's not the case anymore.
And that's not what you paid or close to it. So that's all right.
It is. I think if I hate to sound like a cliche Robin Hood investor bro, but I think there was I've heard the saying that apparently Warren Buffett once said, I don't know who that guy is, that like if you want to invest in something that you want to get the best possible asset of it and then trade it. So really when you're dealing with, a select one of one, an XRC out of 25 PSA 10 and a black gold, which is still gold out of 8 PSA 10. Like these aren't debuts. These aren't any niche wacky stuff. XRCs are one of the most demand, even though it's a 2016 card, one of the most in demand. Why did I say 2016? 2019 card.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a calendar in a while. 2023 edition. One of the most desired cards for any NFL player. These are one of the better assets. And my rationale is if I can or can't move them in the interim, I'll at least be able to ride the wave heading through the offseason. Just as a consolation, I bought 2 Le Rookies, PSA 9s, 2003. I think this is the second time I've owned this card. Doesn't shock me. That it still gives me wow, I'm holding a LeBron James rookie.
Yeah, that's the sick one. That's the classic Topps one that I have back home. But LeBron goodbyes right now. I feel like once he breaks the record, that's going to be high liquidity pretty quickly. Obviously, LeBron's the GOAT. So
yeah. One of my favorite stories of this card is not a personal story, but one of my best friends from high school. He during the COVID boom, he was reaching out a little to me about cards, and he was telling me that when he was about 10 years old, he bought the LeBron James draft pick card on Amazon for about $30 when he was a kid, and then it got lost somewhere.
That's so brutal.
But the buying from Amazon is just so funny to me.
Yeah, buying from early Amazon.
Yeah.
One fun fact about that 2003 LeBron is that they actually made first edition Topps back then, and I think 03 and 04, maybe one other year, maybe 05, but definitely 03 and 04. And now that they're bringing that back with Bowman first edition, they did first edition this year in flagship. If you're interested in learning about how much being a first edition card impacts a card's price, look into those ones if you're into that.
I mean, first edition is always the most interesting gimmick. 2003 obviously was a big year, not only for LeBron, but in recognition that LeBron was a big player and everyone knew it. They were making new products just to put LeBron in. 2003 Matrix was not a thing. Was that a 1-year product?
Yeah, one-off product.
Yeah, and so they really went out of their way to get a bunch of LeBron products, and even the Fleer and the Upper Deck.
Exquisite.
Okay.
It's first year Exquisite. It's the first year they made it.
No. Yeah, I guess that is an excuse to get but that's like more of like a hobby revolution change. It's not just like, oh, we're just gonna get LeBron a card. But
Yeah, but
like,
I think that it's kind of hand in hand thing where like LeBron was so great that it forced innovation because they're like, how can we, capitalize off this guy who has so much hype. Oftentimes, I think that new products and cool shit pop up when these generational talents start entering the market. But wait, we didn't finish the
that's
thought
an
on the
extremely good way of putting that.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Whenever I get a compliment from you on how I put something, it's always a good. I always feel a little better about myself.
Yeah, I'm pretty stingy with compliments in general
Yeah,
sometimes.
I love it. But so the quarterbacks,
I always say for every one you're pretty, I tell a girl, I tell myself I'm handsome back one time. Has to be that ratio or higher.
we have a big self love movement going on with the young old heads. Love
Yeah,
your collection. Be happy with yourself. You're a great collector.
but I have the best collection in the world.
Exactly. But I wanted to.
Highest relative.
I forgot to respond to your Warren Buffett quote. I feel like another important part of those buys is that those cards you bought on Goldin, which we've talked about before, have issues with getting eyes on certain cards that maybe aren't the 0.001% top end cards. So do you think the fact that you got those cards on Goldin, got you a discount on them? And is that like an incentive for you to like dig deep on the Goldin auction, like listings? I forget how they do it, but like
The
I've never.
the demographic of buyers for Goldin is very interesting in that some items that are like uber high end, like obviously realize their market value, and but on other ends of the spectrum, it completely undershoots. Like I've had a PSA 9 blue, yellow, green choice John Morant. PSA 9, I think I cracked it, got a PSA 5 cracked it, got a Becca 9.5. But in this time of owning the card, I was heavily studying the market for it. And every single sale from pretty much July through October, PSA 9s have sold between $400 to $450. And I think I bought mine at 485. So I own the market. But there was one in Goldin that sold in September for like 635. And that's just a complete outlier. That's has nothing to do with eBay. This is a moderately, not necessarily scarce as in like, oh, I'm charging triple comps, but scarce enough to where you're really only seeing it at auction. But the Goldin buyer was willing to overpay. I recently acquired another Trae Young courtside at a 60 PSA 10. Really cool card, copper, whatever. But that's like a high value card. But pre 2019 and earlier, when Select is hobby only, that has a large reputation of being a highly coveted upper class elitist set. So when I'm looking at the Goldin sales of that card, it actually seemed a bit inflated relative to eBay. But on the contrary, when I'm looking at my LeBron James PSA 9s, I got these at like 70-ish, 80-ish percent of the going rate. And same thing with this PSA 10 Clayton Kershaw. These cards are still very in demand cards, and if anything, easy to move cards, and are high end in their own right, or even the Tua XRC, which I thought that I got a good value at. But they're not the type of extremely super flashy high end or ones with the connotations of that would make it oversell at Goldin rather than underselling.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that's a good way of displaying and representing the Goldin market versus like an eBay market. In my head, if someone's in the news a lot, like if you see some, like if John Morant's dunking on people and he's like very hyped up, maybe as an MVP candidate or something, that's a situation when a card of his might sell over comps on Goldin. But a guy like Zach Wilson, who's been benched and it's been very public about how bad he's been, that might make his cards even sell for even less than eBay on Goldin that week. Because I think in general, what I'm trying to say is that Goldin buyers are way more responsive to the news cycle than eBay. And that's saying something considering how responsive eBay buyers are to the news cycle. But I think with Goldin, it's even like enhanced a little bit. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, even if we're thinking about like buy it now versus auction, a buy it now, the sale is coming to you. An auction, you are forcing the sale. So when you're consigning with Goldin or another big auction house, I know PWCC, you can do auctions like even the same week of, and it's a flash auction. But with Goldin, you're scheduling what your lot is going to be, probably maybe even several weeks or even months in advance. you don't know that when you're having your $2,000 or $3,000 Tua card up, that he's going to get concussed and is going to have significant injury issues, or maybe that Zach Wilson is going to get benched. So you're forcing some of the highest, not necessarily the highest, because of course National Treasures, flawless autographs, etc., but relatively high end cards of these quarterbacks that don't come to the market or rarely. You're forcing the sale, and it happens to be a time where they're plummeting in value. And I don't know if they necessarily can pull the plug, the people consigning their cards to Goldin, but because I mean, they're realizing the loss anyway. But regardless, it just makes it a good time to buy.
Yes, and it's a planned trips also can impact Max's buying strategy. You are going to
I want to say one little bit last
yeah,
thing.
yeah, keep
Yeah.
going.
2003 LeBron, we were talking about like the influx of the sets of those stuff, and that's really cool. Part of what makes Curry's rookie cards very cool is that he's probably the biggest GOAT candidate in this generation outside of LeBron, and he does not suffer from the overproduced mania of 20 billion cards. It's like his gold out of 2009 does a lot of cash, even though it's
Exactly.
Topps gold.
Yep, and that's and well, he also suffer. I mean, not suffers, but that's like literally the only product that Topps made for basketball that year was just flagship, which I think is pretty cool for him. He does have like kind of a lot of weird Panini ones because Panini was like, I think they might have just gotten the license that year, maybe the year before, and they were kind of just like figuring it out. So he does like on the Panini side, he has a ton of products, but like Topps, which I think most people, still think Topps basketball is like the premium product for whenever they made it. That definitely helps him for sure. What we were talking about, I want to hear about your Dallas strategy though, because you're going to Dallas and you bought some quarterbacks, and those things are intertwined. So I want to hear about, you're going to Dallas. You also had some other buys that I want to hear about from card shows this weekend. But why is like maybe can you represent? I know neither of us have been to Dallas, so it's hard for us to talk totally about it. But like from what we've heard from people that we are friends with, why is Dallas a place that you want to bring these cards to?
Dallas is the second biggest card show in the country behind the National, and it happens once every 2 months. I'm specifically looking forward to this Dallas because we are right in the heart of the baseball offseason, which sounds like a great time to buy baseball. I didn't necessarily go hand in hand in thinking, oh, these quarterbacks that I'm buying off Goldin are going to be great for Dallas. But it's really just more ammo to have in the dispensary. I might have written a support ticket saying, hey, whatever you do, please make sure these arrive before I leave for Dallas. And Goldin did a good job. The cards arrived. But recognizing that I could have that liquidity made me less hesitant in blowing part of my Dallas budget on Goldin. And it's a game of cash flow and it's a game of churning. I don't entirely know what my strategy will be for Dallas. Ami, you were hinting at some of my buys for this week. I bought over $1,100 of bulk baseball cards, approximately 700-ish cards total, I want to say. And I don't know if I want to allocate part of my budget in Dallas towards buying bulk and then either shipping them back or traveling them back with me, or if I just want to stick to the prototypical plays of buying at a certain percentage, or at least a card that I'm bullish on, or a card that I think is undergraded and leveraging that to my advantage. But I do like to put my money at work, whether that's me physically working, pinching out cards out of top loaders or not. It just has to keep growing.
They say scared money don't make money, Max.
I ain't a bitch.
Well, all right, we'll follow up on this after you go to Dallas. I feel like we have a good sense of why you're going there, why it's a good show for you to go to, and why you spent a little more cash to have some money to work with, potentially cash flow. But can we talk about some of your other or actually, I feel like
let's talk about stuff a little bit more.
All right. Well, all right. We were going to talk just to the listeners. Me and Max talked about what we're going to talk about before the episode.
Not really.
We're going to talk about rainbows and like hunting rainbows, but I feel like we're going to push that to another week because we've been going well with this topic, and I have a few other recent things that I want us to talk about because they've been in the card news. One
Or
of
I'll
them,
force Tommy to make 20 minutes extra of content when this episode's done. We'll see.
yeah, I love the clips, but we need to do a quick rundown. The 101 Platinum Julio Rodriguez update flagship card was pulled. I believe it was from a hanger, which
It
is
was
pretty
from a
dope,
hanger.
which is awesome.
Hangers are bangers.
Shout out hangers. But I saw a tweet that said, "Wow, this card's underwhelming." And what it made me feel was just why is platinum so much worse than a superfractor in terms of the pure visual aesthetic of it? Like a superfractor, you hold that in your hand, you're like, damn, this is cool. This is like. So if I gave that to someone who doesn't know cards, they're gonna get that that's a cool card. If I gave them a platinum card, they'll probably just think it's probably a base card. So Max, first, what do you think of that take? Is that a hot take or cold take?
It's a correct take actually. One of my favorite anecdotes revolving platinum cards of all time is back in 2019, someone pulled the Pete Alonso Platinum 1/1 410 Topps 2019 Series 2 True Rookie card, owned it for I believe several months, and did not know he owned the Platinum 1/1.
I wish I could say that's surprising. I wish I could say it's surprising.
Yeah, 2019 isn't a particularly rough year because you don't have concrete borders and the whitish background kind of can be at least conflated with grayish. I know that card sold for like $3,000 at auction at that time when it was eventually recognized. But yeah, no, it's just a testament to how easy it is to confuse. Tommy, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you think platinum 1/1s are so bad, what do you think of the Canary Diamond 1/1s from 2011 update?
Those things bang.
Really?
Are you talking about the ones with the diamond in the card?
The ones with the diamond in the card.
Yeah, I know about that set or the apparel. So I think those are cool. I'm pro the diamond anniversary in general. I will quote unquote suck off Topps for that whole concept that they did, and I think it's cool. It's way better than a lot of other things they did. It's a lot better than 70th anniversary. We've talked about how that parallel was just absolutely terrible. Basically a knockoff of platinum.
Well, they also fucked it up.
Yeah, they fucked it up.
Remember that. Like, it was supposed to be a platinum foil, but it became indistinguishable, pretty much nearly indistinguishable with the blacks, I want to say. With the black parallel.
Oh, maybe. I forget what it was, but yeah, it looked the same as another one.
Excuse me, it became indistinguishable with the platinum 1/1s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of them was supposed to be foiled, but it didn't end up happening, at least in Series 1.
Yeah, I know exactly.
The card sucks.
The card sucks. Cool to whoever pulled it from a hanger. I think they're on Twitter now or something. But yeah, that was just a thought I had. Similar to my thought that every NBA logo man is also a Jerry West card, which I still think is the greatest thought I've ever had.
I want to talk about some sales regarding this.
Yeah, we can talk about sales.
Yeah, so the Wander Franco Platinum Foil First Edition sold at Goldin on April 30th for $78,000. The True Platinum Wander Franco sold for $44,000 in July of this year. And the Julio Rodriguez Bowman Chrome First Superfractor Non-Auto did $67,000 at Goldin in August.
Okay.
How much does that make the Platinum update?
Considering he did like his first, the SP in Series 2 does not have parallels. The Wander, I think the 87,000 sale is a little ridiculous. I think most people.
Yeah, that was like borderline peak Wander Mania. Like Wander Mania was going from like February through like April and was just starting to die down.
I think I saw that the guy's asking $150K.
Yeah, that guy's off his rocker. Because really, the Superfractor from Chrome Update trumps the Platinum.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I would argue we should do a rankings of like what 1/1s we'd want, but I feel like we talked about this a good amount, like the 1/1 ranking. So I don't want to.
Yeah, but the only the OG listeners know the Evil Stitch top 10 list.
True, the pilot episode. He's doing another list. That might need to be our next episode, honestly.
Yeah, we have to pay tribute.
All right, yeah, we'll pay tribute. But Max, it's time for what I was up to this week.
Okay.
you made fun of me because I posted a tweet that said I won my fantasy football league and I have $100 to spend on cards. Did not really have too much luck on Twitter with people selling me stuff. This one guy, and tell me if you've ever done this, Max.
Hmm.
But I have this is one guy on Twitter, and he buys cards. I think literally just so I can buy them from him, which I support. Like he just always has that like Clay Thompson parallels, but like doesn't really buy basketball cards. So I'm like, this guy just knows that I buy cards all the time and whatever.
Yeah.
But bought some like just random parallels from him. Bought like a couple optic Durant numbered ones from his time with the Warriors, and then I bought a 2018 Brandon Crawford Independence Day from him too, which we've talked about that being the best year of Independence Day. So I was hyped about that. But I also ripped some Chrome update, and I figured we don't do too much like product review type of stuff. But I figured since I ripped like 3 hangers and 2 megas with some Christmas money, that it's worth talking about. I pulled a rookie debut Bobby Witt Jr. refractor numbered out of 299. I don't know if we've talked about Chrome Update too much in depth about how it's different from normal Chrome and how that kind of plays an impact on everything. But I love that the refractors are numbered for Chrome Update, and I think that it's cool that they're rarer. I know that in normal Topps Chrome, it's kind of been a point of collectors recently that refractors are like way more common and just kind of not as refractor looking these days. So it's harder, they're just not as cool. But I do think Chrome Update refractors being numbered are really cool. Do you agree with that, Max?
I think they're cool. I think one of the craziest things is that as of now, 2022 Topps Chrome Update hobby boxes are at $80, and regular update paper hobby boxes are at $130.
So there's a couple reasons I think for that. One, obviously, there's not like a guaranteed auto in the Chrome Update hobbies, right? It's
Yeah,
not
actually,
nothing guaranteed.
I think it's closer to 90. I don't want to misspeak.
But also, like,
it's closing.
Yeah, the gap's closing. But also, like, you can go to your Target right now, probably find a Mega that has all the purples in it as well. I think something they dropped the ball on is they should have just made another parallel for the hobbies, instead of making it the same purple as the Megas. I really like the pink waves
There's
this year.
nothing unique about the hobby configuration.
No, nothing. And I really do like the hangers were a fun rip, way more fun than the Megas. If I was gonna rip more, I'd just purely go with the hangers, just because the pink waves look really dope compared to the purples. And I think in the past it's been just like normal pink refractors, right, Max? Have been in some years it's just pink.
Pinks were in regular Chrome. I don't know about Chrome Up. Yeah, actually no. Chrome Update does have pinks, or did have pinks.
Yeah, I think they now make it pink wave, which is pretty cool looking. Whatever. But I was hyped. I was hyped to pull a Bobby Witt numbered. I'll probably hang on to that with my Julio SP from Update, but not just like absolutely loving the Update. So that's my little 2-second review of that. But Max, I want to hear about some anything you've sold recently, because I feel like we've talked a lot about buys, but I've heard rumors that eBay has been hot lately with people getting their Christmas money in, wanting to spend some money on cards. I've seen anecdotally a lot of people on Twitter saying that they've been selling more on eBay recently.
I love talking about my sales. It's like fun.
I think a lot of people, let's give people a window into the Cards Max eBay shop for a sec here. What did you, anything fun?
I sold, fun. Well, my most recent sale was an Anthony Schwartz silver rookie hollow relic from Prism for $2. That's very fun. Here's some. My Keston Hura SSP update auto. I owned 2. I bought them for about $300 each. I sold my first for $99. I am realizing a loss on this card, a very, relatively sizable loss, down 2/3. And I'm a little surprised even someone bought that immediately. So I will probably be listing the second one at about $125 to $150 for the super short print autograph.
Everyone's really sad to hear that you're giving up on Keston Hura, Max.
I'm not trying to give up on Keston Hura. I was just wrong.
Yeah, you're just.
I am always a believer, but I can no longer put my money where my mouth is.
That is fair, and
I don't want to go down with the. Honestly, I didn't think anyone would buy it at 100. Like I was thinking, okay, I'm going to get the high of the market. I know a friend who went to UC Irvine, a card person who operates in cards, says, oh, yeah, I went to UC Irvine. Hura's like the best baseball player to ever go from there. I might just buy it for the fun of that. So really, it's like he didn't end up buying one, but we're operating under that premise for the people that are buying and collecting Hura.
I think Playboy cards went to UC Irvine. I'm pretty sure.
No, it wasn't Playboy.
No, okay. Well,
I
that's pretty
sold
funny.
a Pete Alonso first Bowman Chrome Blue Auto PSA 9. Um, it was a really weird card for me. I bought it at PWCC as a Beckett 8.5. I got no traction as a Beckett 8.5. Even and weirdly, like the gap in value between the blue wave and the blue was almost non-existent on this card. Like you wouldn't think it, but it was almost non-existent.
Yeah.
So I figured the Beckett holder was hurting it. I cracked it and sent it in the PSA and it nined, which I was hoping for. I didn't realistically expect a 10. It was off center. And it was bought the one of the first days I listed it at $650. I think in total I made $50, but it was good to be able to exit that card. And honestly, if you're a Pete Alonso buyer, like go after the True Blues because I think they're a little undervalued relative to the Waves. It's really weird owning cards like or even just owning cards in general because like it makes me like super invested time wise into a extremely niche market that I otherwise like would not have exposure or interest in
Yeah.
if I didn't jump into the card. But it's like I can tell you that blue waves do like 400 and blues do like 500 or so. But the quality control is also really weird, and there's not many mint copies entirely.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked to Matt's cards about that before with the Pete Alonso Bowman first, and I know that he like knows about the fact that a lot of them are OC and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, speaking of OC cards, I finished my Marshawn Lynch Topps Chrome rookie rainbow this week, obviously minus the the 101 or whatever, but I bought a PSA 8 off center blue refractor 2007 Marshawn Lynch. And what I found, and this has been a card that I've been after for a long time because I just figured one would come up that's centered, but every single one I've ever seen is like very, very OC for the blue refractors for 2007. So I'm like, I think that this is just like a quality control thing that like all of them are OC and that I need to just kind of buy one whenever. And I got it for $30. So I'm not like really tripping. But
Are you tripping?
I'm not tripping.
Oh,
But
are you tripping?
man, imagine doing this podcast on shrooms or something. I would
Yeah,
literally that
do
would
it.
be you would if I did that, you would just shut it down immediately. But anyway, that was just like a random info thing of the week. 2007 Topps Chrome. I think it's even more enhanced for like centering on that set because you have the like very thick border all across. So if you do like if something's thinner, it's very, very obvious to the eye. If you have any questions about Topps Chrome football, though, just hit up Gaby Card Stacks, our good friend and homie.
Who's that?
Get out of here. But Max, you want to hear what else I bought with my fantasy football winnings?
No.
I know you don't.
Tell me anyway.
I'm going to tell you regardless
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
have
good.
you captive on this
Use
podcast.
yeah. Use that confidence and assertiveness to tell me about your fantasy football winning buys. You get
So
second place, or where did you win it?
no, I won.
You only got 100?
No, I just only am letting myself. Well, I obviously spent a little more than 100, but I won $600. But I decided I had to put $300 in my savings account. So
Okay.
that
You
was
see,
my.
for me, that just became, oh, I won 2 fantasy football leagues this year. More money for Dallas.
Hey, scared money don't make money. But I also bought a 2009 Topps American Heritage refractor, the set that our boy Kimball, Sunsport Trading Co. is trying to do. We talked about this set a little bit before with him, I think. But I bought a Thurgood Marshall refractor, Max, the absolute goat of the Supreme Court. Very legendary historical figure and I'm a big fan. I got it for $50. And I'm also now helping out our boy Frank Lubati with the base chrome set from there. So me and him did a little trade. I traded him a bunch of, I think 6 or 7 of the normal chromes for a Gleyber Torres All-Star Game Gold Cup pink Mother's Day out of 50. Pretty cool. And then I bought the greatest Sean Livingston Warriors card, Max.
Sean Livingston Fox.
Yeah, Sean Livingston fucking Fox. And I bought his Road to the Finals from 2016-17 card out of 199. I got it for 50. I have $45. It was a buy it now situation where I think the last one I saw on auction went for about the same price as the buy it now, and the buy it now had been sitting there, and that was like a year ago. And the buy it now had now been sitting there for like a few weeks. So I was like, someone's gonna buy this at some point. I'm doing the set. now I got some cash to spend. I love Sean Livingston. I feel like he was such an essential part of that run. So I'm really happy to own that card now, even though it is from the 2016 finals, the one that we lost. A little bit brutal, but still cool card. And it's, of course, him hitting his fadeaway, his like little mini fadeaway over, I think it's Kyrie in the picture. Yeah, Kyrie, and then JR is in the background. But hyped about that card. Sean Livingston, love that. And also just like kind of love, shout out like important guys on championship teams, even if their careers aren't like GOAT status, are always going to have at least some market. Like, trying to think of some other good examples of that in baseball, maybe like guy like Red Sox fans. Like, if a guy won a ring with the Red Sox, there's like a lot of love given to him, I feel like, and like people will collect him. With the Cubs, it's like anyone who was on that 2016 World Series team, I always like, even like random dudes like Miguel Montero, like you'll be able to sell his like rookie cards because people do like these sets that are like, oh, rookie cards of everyone who was on that 2016 Cubs team and stuff like that. I feel like is like something that I notice sometimes. But Max, that's all I got for this week.
That's
Actually, I
that's
have
pretty
one more
cool,
thing.
Mr. Lucky Collector.
Yeah, I can go fuck myself, but
Yeah,
I'm having fun.
yeah,
I had fun this week buying cards and kind of getting a little, kind of like indulging myself. I feel like lately I've been in this phase of collecting where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be spending money. I should be spending money. And it was nice to just have a little bit of money to just say, fuck it.
That's how I feel all the time.
Well, you got anything else, Max, or else? I feel like this has been a good episode. I'm pretty satisfied with it, unless you got some more thoughts you want to get off your chest. Actually, wait, I have one more thing if you want.
But what?
I got one more thing if you want.
Yeah, you got one more in you.
Yeah, well, I got one more thing that I want you to go off of. But our boy Rohan Slav Mafia Sports, he did a thing. He's been doing grading lately for people, so he has a business where like if you send him cards, he gets them graded for you. He posted something about stats, and I know that you're always begging for data. You never have the data that you want to make your decisions, Max, with grading, and like this is some real data for you. So he said that favorable results on known crack and resubs gone through him have got like cards that have been cracked and got higher grades. They're at 24 for 26. So only 2 did not get better grades that were cracked and resubbed. And while that's the case with his grading, he has also done 11 crossovers. And now crossover is when you send an already graded card to another company to see if they agree with the grade. And if they think it should be higher, they will crack it themselves and then regrade it with the higher grade. Favorable results on crossovers with him are 0 for 11. 0, 0. So what this, the takeaway from this, in my opinion, is just that grading companies, crossovers are kind of bullshit, basically.
Yeah, getting into that. Especially Beckett's PSA, you see the subgrades right on the slab. And from all the anecdotal evidence that I've read, not necessarily have done myself, experienced myself, but from hearing so many of other people's experiences, you really need a True Gem Plus or True Gem, really True Gem Plus pretty much at this stage if you want to have a shot of upgrading your card from a Beckett 9.5 Gem Mint to a PSA 10. So that would mean 3 9.5 subgrades and 1 10 subgrade in order for it to make the cut, and that's still not even guaranteed. Obviously, I love Rohan. I presume he's not misrepresenting data, but in the context of grading, a Beckett 9 to a PSA 9 is seen as an upgrade, as well as a PSA 8 to a Beckett 9. So the bar for success is clearly differentially lowered, and we don't know how many of those were PSA 9 to PSA 10 upgrades, or Beckett 9.5 to 10 upgrades, or even Beckett 9 to 10 upgrade to PSA 10 upgrades. But that is something to keep in mind when taking a look at this data. I know I get a lot of flack for cracking my PSA 9s, but that also obviously is the hardest to get the bump in. You're submitting it to the same company without changing or altering the card, and you're just praying that they were bad at it the first time.
But I think what what I get from Rohan's stats there are just like
crossover.
Yeah, crossover. Just don't crossover. Just don't.
Unless it's an extremely valuable card and you want no risk involved at all, then you cross over. But this is a game of risk. It's a game of tolerance. That's why Alt cracked the Beckett 9.5 Curry. It's not so that they could get scissors and trim it. It was so that they could submit to PSA without any bias of what the previous grade was. And it's the same for cards that are 2, 3, and 4 figures. It's not just reserved for 6-figure cards.
We had to close it up with the alt, but this was a fun episode, Max. Hope you guys learned something. If you have any thoughts on what we said, feel free to reach out at TV Sports Cards, at TV.sportscards on Instagram. Max is at CardsMax on Instagram and Twitter. We've been having a little more fun with the clips. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, Young Old Heads Podcast. And yeah, this is a fun one. Kind of, Dallas is not next week, right? It's the week after.
Dallas is the week of the 14th. No, Dallas is this week. Dallas is Thursday through Sunday.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, next episode we'll be able to I think we'll probably be recording on Monday next week. So
no, we won't. You'll be recording this weekend and I'll be at the show.
No, I can't this weekend.
Ooh, 2 thumbs down.
Sorry, but either way, make sure to check it. Make sure to tune in next week for Max's recap, and it'll be fun. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Cards.